I'm on Lesson Master 4.1 and we have the evens. This first lesson is predominantly over converting between rotations, revolutions, and radians. So number 2 says we want to convert the magnitude to revolutions. So I have 7 pi over 2 radians. If you recall, in 1 revolution, that's equal to 2 pi radians. So those radians will cancel out, the pi's cancel out, and I'm going to multiply straight across, and I end up with 7/4 of a revolution. So I want to take this point, and I want to go, you can either look at it in terms of revolutions or in terms of pi. I'm going to go with revolutions. This is equal to 1 3/4. So if I go 1 full revolution, and then I go 3/4 of another one, I end up with that point Q being right there. 4. Give 2 other magnitudes in radian, one positive and one negative, for a rotation of 5 pi over 6. So let's go estimate. This would be 1/6, 2/6, 3/6. Let's try again. 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, 5/6. I'm sitting right here. So one way I could go, it says negative, I could go a pi and then 1/6 that direction. So I'm looking at 1 pi plus 1/6, 6 over 6 plus 1/6. I finally get 7/6 pi, and again it has to be negative. The other way is I could go here and I could go all the way around again. Well, keep in mind, all the way around again is equal to 2 pi radians. I'm going to go find a common denominator. Finally add them together, 17 pi over 6. Number 6, we have to go from convert to a magnitude in radians. A couple different ways. First of all, 45 degrees, you guys really should know where that one is right now. At this point, it's that one right there, which is equal to pi over 4. Another way we could do this is use a conversion factor. So we have 360 degrees is equal to 2 pi. I can multiply straight across, and eventually I'm still going to reduce to pi over 4. Moving to number 8, I want to go to a degree measure. Well, pi is equal to 180, so I could do 180 divided by 10. The zeros cancel, and we're left with 18 divided by 1, which is 10. If you look at number 10, this is equivalent to pi, and pi in degrees is 180 degrees. Okay, number 12, revolutions. You have 2 pi is equal to 1 revolution. So the pi's cancel, we're left with 17 over 2, which is 18 and a half, or if you want to write it as 8.5 or 8.5. To convert it to degrees, again, you have 17 pi. Pi is equal to 180 degrees. So I'm going to do 17 times 180. I don't know that one off the top of my head, but we're going to give you, or you can bring in one of those 5-function calculators, and you get 3,060. Okay, finally in the last one I have 0.3 repeating, which is 1/3. If you're going clockwise, that means you're going this direction. I'm going to go 1/3 of a revolution. That puts me in approximately right here. So first of all, to go convert it to degrees, I have 1/3 of a revolution. And again, you have 1 revolution is equal to 360 degrees. 360 over 3, and we eventually get 120 degrees. If I go convert this to radians, 1/3 revolution, again 1 revolution is equal to 2 pi radians, and we're left with 2 pi over 3. Okay, let's move on to lesson master on your quiz, I'm going to give you a blank unit circle and you can fill it in as much or as little as you think you need. I'm just going to go ahead and draw the unit circle. 270 degrees puts me right here. If I'm looking for sine, I'm looking for the y. This ordered pair is 0, negative 1, so it's negative 1. Well, I'm there, I'm going to go and do the cosine. That's my x value, which is 0. The tangent is sine divided by cosine, which in this case ends up being undefined. Negative 3 pi, so this is 1 pi, 2 pi, 3 pi. The coordinates at that point are negative 1, 0, so my y in this case is 0. My x is negative 1. 0 divided by negative 1 in this case is equal to 0. Also, just a reminder, tangent is y over x, which is essentially your slope. So the other way to look at this, the slope here is 0, where this one ends up being a vertical line, which is undefined. Okay, finally at 0, we're talking right here. The coordinates there are 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, and again, 0 divided by 1 is 1. Okay, number 4, true or false, the tangent of a number times pi over 2 is always going to equal 1. I think, let's just go ahead and start plugging in. Let's suppose my k value is 1. That means I end up with tangent of 1 times pi over 2, which is tangent of pi over 2. So if we look at our unit circle, pi over 2 is here, and this slope right here actually is equal to undefined. So right away, we can already see that this is false. Okay, number 5, it says my cosine is less than 0, so if you can picture, that means your x values are negative, your y values are positive. So again, let's go sketch out on the unit circle. My x's are negative, my y's are positive. That means I end up here, and notice your answers have to be in radians. So this radian measure here corresponds with pi over 2. This radian measure here corresponds with pi. Let's go ahead and look at the one below it. It says my cosine is greater than 0, which is positive. My sine is 0. So I've got a positive x, and my cosine, or my sine, so we actually end up right here. So we're not in any radians. We're actually on the x-axis. We're supposed to give it between here and here. That means we're not rotating at all. So that corresponds with 0 pi, which is just 0. Okay, number 6, I know my y values have to be negative. And if my tangents are negative, that means my cosine would have to be positive. That way when I divide, I still get a negative tangent. So again, in your unit circle, I'm doing my x's are positive, my y's are negative, so I end up down in here. This point in radians is 3 pi over 2. This point right there is 2 pi. Last one again, your x's have to be negative. If my tangent is negative, that means my sine would have to be positive. So if you notice, we're actually in the same location that we were here. So pi over 2 is less than theta, which is less than pi. Okay, 9 through 13, they have not given us numerical values for x and y, but they've given us alphabetic letters instead. So sine of negative 270, so positive 270 would be this way. If I'm going negative, I'm going to end up here, and that y value is letter D. Cosine of 13 pi over 12, well, if you can recognize this as 1 and 1/12 pi. So this is 1 pi, so the best estimate for that extra 1/12 would be here. If we're looking for cosine, I want the x-coordinate, which would be G. Cosine of 135, so this is 45, 90, this is 135, again cosine is x, so I'm looking at E, which is the x-coordinate. Sine of pi over 3 is here, I'm looking for my y-coordinate, which is B, and 2/3, this is 1/3, this is 2/3, and again I need my x-coordinate, so that is E. looks like this is a negative, so we actually should be going back. This would be about 1/3, this would be 2/3, so that actually corresponds with letter I. Okay, moving on to the last lesson master. 4-3 is not going to be on your quiz. 4-4, we skip some. So again, here's that unit circle. So I'm again just going to kind of make a brief one here. Negative pi over 3 would be approximately right here. So if you take a look, this is your smaller x, so that must mean this is 1/2, this is radical 3 over 2, and again, because I'm moving down, it's negative. Let's go here. Cosine of 30 degrees would be here. So again, notice this is your longer length, so that must mean it's radical 3 over 2, and it's positive because I'm moving to the right. Sine of 240. So here would be 270. 30 degrees short of that would put me right here. So again, this is your x, this is your y. Notice y is the longer length, which is radical 3 over 2, and again, because I'm moving down, it's negative. This one I'm going to go and change. This would be equal to 2 and 5/6 pi. So that would be 2 pi, and then I go 5/6, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 would be right here. Again, I'm looking for sine, and notice that's the shorter leg, so that would correspond with 1/2, and it's positive because we're moving up. Number 4, cosine of 3/4, so 1/4, 2/4, 3/4 would put me here. That's a 45, 45, 90, which is radical 2 over 2, and because I've moved to the left, it's negative. Cosine of 2/3 pi. 1/3, 2/3, and my picture's getting a little bit messy, so let me see if I can draw a new one down here. 1/3, 2/3. So again, notice the sign is the longer, so it's radical 3 over 2, and it's positive because we moved up. Negative pi over 4 would put me here. That's the 45, 45, 90, so that's a radical 2 over 2. Again, it's positive because I've moved right. 10. I'm going to plug some things in my calculator. Again, 5-step or 5-function calculator. Okay, so I went and divided this by 360. I got the following. So that means I go clockwise 5 whole times, and then I got to go 0.875. Well, 0.875 times 360 puts me at 315 degrees. So again, I go backwards 5 times, and I have to go 315, which puts me here. Again, that's a 45, 45, 90. It's radical 2 over 2, and it is positive. Alright, I only have a minute and a half left. We have really done the next set on our calculator, and you're not going to see any like that on your quiz. Let's go look at the next one. We're looking for when is the cosine of theta equal to 0. That's occurring right here. And again, it has to be in radians, so that could be 0 radians, it could be 2 pi radians. The next time I go around is 4 pi, which is larger than what I'm allowed to go to. Or we could go backwards. We could go clockwise, which corresponds with negative 2 pi. Alright, last one. Let's go draw a picture here. Looking for my sine to be 0. That occurs here and here. So that could be 0 pi, that could be 2 pi. It could also, if I went this way, it could be pi. If I went backwards, negative pi.